Alright guys and gals, welcome to round 2, game 4 of the Tiny Wars Open Tournament. I am Advanced Warrior.
I'm CJ.
And this game features BleakHorizon, player 1 playing as Tabitha. Tabitha, boarding cost of 50, zone radius of 0, so that means that only the CO units is going to get the buffs. Regular 30-60 zone expansion. Day is that all units in the CO zone gain 60% offense and defense, which is kind of crazy. As for her power, all units get that 60-60 and deal 8 HP damage to a unit in a 2 radius area, kind of like a missile or a meteor strike or an ex machina, that kind of radius, and it randomly targets the highest HP or fund enemy units.
And in the bottom right corner, we have Wolf71 playing as Waylon. Waylon has a boarding cost of 50 default, 2 zone radius starting, and default expansion at 30 and 60. His day-to-day is all units get a default boost, and then air units get an extra 20% offense and 30% defense. So for the air units, it's a total of 30% offense and 40% defense. His CO power gives all units a default 10-10 buffs globally, and then his air units I guess get that same offense buff, but a massive defense buff of plus 300%. Basically, he's the air defense, mostly specialist. And because of the way that defense calculation works in this game, plus 300 defense will basically reduce damage by, I think?
A third, I think?
No, I think you would do. I think you would do a fourth of the damage that you would kind of tend to get, if I remember correctly. Because basically, by default, your attack and defense, like you would say, it's at 100% and 100%. So then, when someone attacks you, then they deal 100% over your 100% defense. But when you get plus 300% defense, then it's 100% over 400%. So you do 1/4 damage, I think.
You think?
I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
I might just put it in the post-production thingy.
We can check the formula later, or kind of have an appendix in the comments or something, or in the description. I don't know.
Hey guys and gals, this is post-production Advanced Warrior here. Just test this out real quickly because I didn't know. So about Waylon's 300 defense, might have 310. Oh my bad, that's my stuff. Might have 310% defense because of the all units. So this might stack, but I just want to show you the results. So this may be a gauge holding a missile, but it's not a gauge missile because it doesn't have a CO unit to it. So if it were to attack this, it would just deal straight up 100 damage. Alright, so let's just end the turn here. And just really quickly. So this is the it is now deals 71 damage. And we'll just flip back to the power. And going back here. So now it deals only 24 damage. So yeah, it looks like CJ was right about it only dealing like a fourth of a damage. I thought it was a third of a damage, but it's actually a fourth. So now we all know how Waylon's air defense works. That was all I just wanted to show. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the video. Alright, so I didn't expect to talk about COs for 3 minutes. No offense, CJ, but let's get right into this game! Okay, so Tabitha and Waylon, very interesting CO selections, personally. Tabitha, I do find a lot more stronger to be in Fog, but looking at this map where the 1 base side is separated from the 2 base side, maybe you could see like a very strong push with like the Tabitha CO unit leading the charge. And as for Waylon, I believe air units are fantastic on this map, but we have two air specialists in this game, Tasha and Waylon. But I think Waylon is in a slight bit of favor on this map, considering that he does have a larger CO zone than Tasha.
Yeah. So I think typically Waylon would definitely be on the weaker side of these two COs, but because of air being particularly good in this map, or so we think. It probably is.
I've seen it happen several times.
Yeah, Waylon is probably a pretty good choice, but Tabitha is, one of those COs that can work in most cases anyways. She doesn't have a particular specialty exactly.
She just has the most density in her CO zone.
Yeah, so she can be applicable in most cases anyways. So it's just the fact that Waylon is viable here specifically that really matters.
Alright, so nothing too atypical here, but seems we have a one base side tank coming from BleakHorizon, and the infantry, 4 infantry actually on the 2 base side, so they're gonna have to walk around that choke point to get there. And we have mechs coming from Wolf's 2 base side with the best theme in the game, in my personal opinion. I will fight you for that. And looks like this turn we're probably going to be seeing the COs being loaded. BleakHorizon's tank, absolutely, I was right. And Waylon is probably going to have that cop there. Now, this tank, I'm curious to see how this will go, because this one tank could probably hold off a couple more units, and I guess that's what you kind of want to do. Oh, a base skip from Bleak. But maybe if this, say this Tabitha dies, it's probably going to do a lot of damage, because it's going to be... reinforcing the 2 base side is going to be a little bit hard if Bleak is going to push up with this. And we have the artillery, and no CO unit for Waylon.
Yeah, that's a little unexpected. Sometimes players do forget to board their CO units, so I suspect that possibly happened here.
Possibly.
But I can't say for sure. It looks like both players though are gonna be pretty aggressive on their 1 base sides. And I mean, Wolf kind of doesn't have a choice, considering that Tabitha, you just can't really do a lot against her. You kind of just have to wait until you have enough of a force to, basically deal with Tabby Tank. So that's what he does. He backs up, as expected, which is fine. That is how you should probably play.
I think not too sure if that anti-air was enough to deter Wolf from sending that battlecopter anywhere forward. Obviously, anti-air, even against the Waylon, is probably going to do a lot of damage. But Waylon, battlecopter, yeah, it makes sense. Sometimes I've seen Waylon in a duster. How do you feel about those?
I kind of did that before too. But honestly, I think B-Copter's just better. You get them out earlier, they're cheaper, they're faster. Yeah, because they're cheaper, they're faster to come out. You probably benefit from them, coming out early. Also, Dusters just aren't that good. I would only really recommend using them as an anti-air that you can cover a lot of space with. But I would generally just prefer getting anti-airs, unless on a map like this it kind of makes sense to go for a Duster if your opponent has B-Copters. If they don't, then don't go Duster, because the Duster can really only do stuff to B-Copters and capturing, infantry units. And it only does infantry damage to really all ground units. They do basically nothing to tanks. They certainly do nothing to AAs. They don't do anything even to recons. If I remember correctly, the damage table literally is basically the same as an infantry, except they don't get counterattacked by most of the ground units. So, for that reason, B-Copters are generally the way to go. They're just overall a better unit to have.
Looking at this copter here, the one advantage that I said earlier that Waylon has over Tasha when it comes to air specialty is that Waylon has is only 2, but it's still bigger than Tasha's zone. What I kind of want to see maybe from Wolf here is to have that is to use that zone and like try to like gain charge with it rather than just flying around and just saying, hey, you know, I'm an air specialist and I'm in here. I would say it kind of makes sense for like Waylon to go either direction there, because like, you know, join one of his fronts and like start gaining that zone. Although I do kind of prefer maybe the 2-base side. Although the Tabby tank is right there, and there's 3 things on that side that could do something to a copter.
Yeah, right now it's really hard. I mean, he's down by 2k income, I think, just because BleakHorizon just has one of BleakHorizon just has one of the cities that Wolf should have. Yeah. And then but the Tabby tank just exerts too much pressure where like he literally just can't get out of that area without really just risking a lot of like energy kind of feeding.
Missile?
A missile. Wow, that's interesting. BleakHorizon has a lot of anti-air.
A lot of anti-air.
Two anti-air per front plus a missile. This is kind of a lot. But then also, Wolf just doesn't have a lot of ground. Like, doesn't have that many tanks either. So, like, BleakHorizon's composition kind of makes sense, but it is kind of a lot.
Wolf is being defensive on his 2-base side. May I remind you? 2-base
yeah,
side.
But that's just the power of Tabby. Tabby's really good at that pressure, because that is, like, you know, sometimes for other CEOs, you're just like, oh, it really can't be helped. Like, you just, you know, have to give them charge. That just happens. But for Tabby, it's like, you do have a decision, but it's really costly either way, because if you sack a unit to her, then she gets real close to becoming unkillable. But if you leave her be, then she'll just kind of have that pressure and you just can't move. That front is completely immobilized, basically.
Imagine a Tabitha copter instead of a tank on this map.
I mean, you can, but then AAs are generally gonna shrug her off.
Yeah, generally.
So this Tabby tank is just really good here. Waylon's going for that charge.
Oh wow, it didn't even kill, so surprisingly.
Yeah, that might have been unlucky. I kind of want to check just real quick. How much HP does he have?
3 HP.
That I don't know if that was unlucky or not, but it could have been. Because that copter did start out at 6 HP.
I was gonna mention that there's a little bit of a mech spam going on Wolf's 1-base side, but now we have a bomber built from Wolf's airport, and got a copter down. Another copter gets doesn't get a favorable first strike. Now that Tabby tank is scary, but Wolf at least does kind of have a force to punish it if that Tabitha was to ever to just go through and like assume it's free to like hit that infantry. I like the death ball that Wolf at least has for that Tabitha tank.
Yeah, but the thing is that BleakHorizon likes that position. He's already gotten that city in the bottom left, and so he's already like basically winning in a way. Like he's winning that front. And he's not supposed to be winning that front because he's, he's the 1-base side.
Oh, join.
He's not supposed to be winning that front, but he is, or at least he's locked it down. Which, if you let that go on for long enough, that's your win condition. And meanwhile, on the right side, like, BleakHorizon has that advantage. There's no CO over there, so there's no reason for him not to be aggressive on that side. Heck, he's even going for the middle, which is pretty bold, but there is nothing to really defend that. So
there is, but it's forcing the unit away from where it would rather be. Like those anti-airs, I'm not counting, but I'm pretty sure they're covering that copter just fine. Like the only things that could really hit it are the is that copter and the bomber, and there's, like I said again, there's 3 things, now 4 things with the duster. 4 things that could do a lot of damage to those units, especially that duster, where neither the copter nor bomber could even attack or get a first strike on. And
I think BleakHorizon is also baiting out that bomber to hit the Tabby tank. Like, I think he's actually just gonna change to that medium tank on the top right.
I also kind of like what BleakHorizon did. Sees the rocket and is like starting to shift over towards the middle, giving that rocket a much harder time to even get in range to like even be a deterrent or start getting hits off.
Yeah, BleakHorizon's doing some interesting stuff. I guess, yeah, because Wolf got that rocket, it was basically completely pushing him out of the area, so Bleak is making those preemptive moves, just move to the center, already making like big captures.
Wait, what the heck was that?
Oh, that was a unit deletion because he doesn't want to give Tabby tank charge. That makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, looked like the radar was just going off again and again. But that unit deletion allows for that radar to be captured, and those copters. There's a copter that could attack those copters, but there are 2 copters, and very likely that duster is going to fly over and be air coverage. Looks like it does. If not, the anti-air is definitely. And, you know, kind of, it looked like Bleak was going for a consolidation in the middle, and then the units kind of split up again. I guess it was kind of to just escort the Tabitha tank towards the 1 base side of Wolf, and now we've got like a little bit of a pincer strike happening, even with just a single tank, but it's a Tabitha tank, so he's got to watch for Wolf. So Wolf's got to watch for the north and the west side of his 1 base side.
Yeah. Did BleakHorizon join one of his bikes? I don't think he needed to do that, but yeah. Anyways, so now it is starting to look like kind of a race to go for the HQ and the 1 base and the airport on each side. Wolf is gonna have a tougher time reinforcing his 1 base side though. As BleakHorizon is already like there, like just a lot of stuff is already there, and I think BleakHorizon overall just has a better position, probably has more value too, I think, just because of how he held the bottom left for so long, where he shouldn't really have that advantage, and basically kind of what I said earlier.
I kind of like what Bleak just did, although there's an anti-air right behind that death ball of Wolf. It is also blocking the blocking that right side of those mountains there, so Wolf is gonna have to like go around the left side where less of his units are. But yeah, it's like starting to clog up for Wolf on their 1 base side there.
Yeah, BleakHorizon has a pretty overwhelming force here, actually.
A bit surprised that missile made it all the way there.
Yeah, missiles aren't super fast after all, but I guess there's a decent amount of road.
There is.
On the way there, so I guess, yeah, it doesn't take too long.
Yeah, there is a ruin around those mountains, though, surrounded by plains. And looks like I want to check this really quickly.
Okay.
So they are. Ooh. Wolf is still 3 income behind. Oh yeah, because of the
Wolf
center property.
Wolf is down by quite a few units.
Yeah,
too, actually.
That center property on Wolf's side. There's a neutral radar on the 2 base side of Wolf. Yeah, it makes sense. And now threatening 3 properties. Wolf is probably not going to save that one on the very right. Maybe save 2, but that's just throwing your units in the meat grinder. Alright, so we got a little bit of a break, but no real units to like go through it, because again, there's just so many units covering each other up there. Artillery especially, missiles for the air units, and there's no way to get through that missile. And if you kill that missile, there's still 2 anti-air to deal with. 3 anti-air actually, and is this where we're going to see the advancement here?
Oh wait, no, never mind. Yeah.
Just dealing damage to the mechs.
Yeah, just kind of Yeah, pretty good push. I mean, BleakHorizon has taken all those cities. I think that missile actually locks down the airport. It does, I think, 6 range.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's not a lot that Wolf can do. It's basically up to if his push happens to be faster, which I don't think is possible here. So, yeah, also that bomber takes some damage, which you don't like to see. Which I don't know. I mean, yeah, on Wolf's side, it might be like a bad positioning play, but like at this point, it's kind of over.
Understandable.
Yeah, resigns in that scenario. Yeah, but Bleak just had overwhelming force on the right side, and there wasn't really much that you could really do at that point. The CO is really strong. The just overall number of units and the composition is just too hard to like work against.
Alright, so let's see here.
So.
I did mention earlier that I could see Tabitha working in both the 1 base side and the 2 base side, and yeah, this is where we're kind of seeing it affecting. I do want to say that Wolf did go for a tank and a battlecopter on their 1 base side. The battlecopter, I mean, obviously it can only be built from there, but I kind of feel like a tank on the 2 base side could maybe stand a chance, because the Tabitha tank is not terrified of any of these units here. Like maybe the artillery could move up and then cover a little bit, but it's still another turn. It's just going to get here the next turn. Tabby tank's probably going to be like either here or here, and it could start doing some damage. The mechs are probably not going to... They're probably going to dent it, but there's just so much defense on that Tabitha tank. I think what Wolf could have maybe done here was possibly build better combat units to try to get a chance against this Tabitha tank. The copter I can maybe see work, but you see the copter coming. I think Bleak would have built an anti-air or another battlecopter regardless.
Well, see, this is where I think some of kind of what's it called? The argument for, or I guess the debate for like how strong really is Tabitha, because I personally think Tabitha is like really strong. Like I think she's like top
3
or maybe top. I don't know. Like she might be top 3. Well, I mean that would necessitate that she's only worse than like Isabella and Brenner basically. Which I'm not sure. At least top 5. Like
okay.
It's really hard to really place her, and I think one of the reasons why, or at least one of the reasons why I think she's really strong is because of just how much pressure she exerts right here in on the 1 base side. Like I think we talked in the map review about how generally you're expected to defend your 1 base side, but slowly you'll get conquered, and we did see that, right? But the reason why it took Wolf so long to conquer the left side is just because like the Tabby tank is so influential. Like you can't push against it unless you have an overwhelming force. The same can't really be the same can kind of be said for other COs depending on the situation, but like usually it requires that CO has some backup units. Tabby can work on her own, and so she exerts pressure really early. And because of that, like Wolf just couldn't get that this property, right? Whereas BleakHorizon had this property and was able to hold that just fine. On your 2 base side, you're expected to get this property. But against Tabitha, like Wolf just couldn't do it. And honestly, I don't think I could do it either. Tabitha's so strong and annoying to deal with. So yeah, I think it's that power, or that pressure that she exerts that really kept this game in this state. Because this state, this number of cities that each player had, like 17 to 19, right, was kind of went on for quite a while. took a. Well, I guess they got their middle bases kind of, but then also, while Wolf was getting this radar, then BleakHorizon was flipping this property, which is worth more. So, yeah, like Wolf just wasn't able to push on the right side in the same way, or at least push and kind of hold this property, especially on the right, in the same way that BleakHorizon was able to push and then hold this property. Because when you have this position on your left side, you're completely fine. You can't expect to get this city. Your best bet is just hold it. That's exactly what BleakHorizon did, and that's kind of what won the game, I feel.
Wolf, BleakHorizon just like really gave the death stare with the tank on Wolf's 2-base side, and I kind of like shift back and forth a little bit on the turns because you saw like there were units back here, up here, and then they all just like moved back there. It just shows you how scary Tabitha could be, and if Tabitha gets rolling and has like other units to back up the Tabitha tank or the Tabitha unit, then yeah, it's going to be a lot more risky to like try to go for that kill. And say you even do get the Tabitha kill, there's so much counterplay that Bleak has, like the artillery like tucked in the mountains, and just like more anti-air for these 5 copters here, and yeah, just a lot of counterplay that Bleak potentially had for this game.
Yep. Yeah. It's really costly to go for the Tabby tank, and then it just comes with heavy compensation after that. So yeah, that's why I super dislike playing against her, but she's super fun to play as.
I hate you. all right, guys and gals. BleakHorizon moves on to round 3 of the Tiny Wars Open Tournament. This was game 4 of round 2. I am Advanced Warrior.
And I'm CJ.
And you all have our warmest regards. Please take care.
Thanks for watching.
Ciao, ciao.